Jacksonville opens its beaches, sparking fierce debate. Protests erupt around the country in defiance of lockdown orders. And have we found Bigfoot? All that and more coming up right now on the BS Podcast.
You're listening to the BS Podcast, where we cover all of the bullshit in the news and more. Now, welcome your hosts, Dave and Zach.
Hello and welcome to the BS Podcast, where we talk the absurd, the ridiculous, and yes, the bullshit. I'm Dave, and joining me is my friend and partner, Mr. Zach. Zach, how are you today, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. We every week, Zach, it amazes me how much crap, how much absurdity there is out there in the world.
How big the bullshit pile grows every single week. Just when we think like there can't be any more, like when we do our show prep, I sit there and I think like there can't be that much more bullshit that we haven't already talked about, but it keeps growing. So
it's absolutely endless. Now we're going to work on, I was listening back to last episode, and I do think we need to get some official, the bullshitometer. And we also need a bullshit detector. So we got
like a metal detector. We'll just stand there like people searching for gold on the beach. We're searching for shit on the earth.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was also thinking of something like handheld, like, I don't know if you're a Star Trek fan, like the tricorder. You know, or it'll beep. But yeah, same principle. Yeah. Which is so yeah. I mean, we got a lot to get through. So I will run through those topics, Zach. We got fear mongering in America's zoos. Dumbest product ever sells out. Puff puff pass to who? And then we've got I think the best segment, the one constant, Florida news. Florida's the gift that keeps on giving. And then we've got anger around the country, Zach. Pathetic grandstanding. This government official gets it. Tough luck, hoarder. Didn't you watch the movie? And does the CARES Act give a little? Does the CARES Act care a little too much? Dr. Fauci says go all in. And have we found Bigfoot?
It's my favorite. It's my favorite that we're going to talk about today.
Me too. And I guess I saved the best for last. I'm making you wait in anticipation.
Yeah.
Now, Zach, before we go through all those stories, let's talk about some hyper-local bullshit going on. What's been going on in your life, buddy?
Well, first of all, I have to drag this 100-foot damn cable from like my downstairs all the way up to my office where the internet comes into my house because the internet sucks ass, and we still can't get it to work that great. So apologize in advance if there's any internet issues on our end. But I think the biggest piece of bullshit is Saturday, me and my wife celebrated our 5-year anniversary.
Congrats.
That's not the bullshit. But we were supposed to go away. We had a trip.
Bullshit, I've been married so long.
Yeah. We were supposed to go away to Boston. We've never been, both of us have never been there. So we were like, let's do that. Take a long weekend, go up to Boston. So we had that planned for a few months. And of course we had to cancel it because of, COVID-19, so this Saturday I was sitting there, and I was like, man, I should be in Boston right now eating a lobster roll, disappointing my wife in the bedroom. And instead, now I'm like, got to just do what I normally do is like sit at home and disappoint my wife in the bedroom for Maryland. That's just where we're at. So bullshit.
I'm so sorry, buddy. Congratulations. The wife and I actually took a trip to Boston. I don't know. It wasn't our 5th, but somewhere around there. That when we went up, we went up for about a week, and it was almost I almost want to call it a super trip because we went to Boston, stayed in a hotel, stayed with a friend of ours who lived just outside of Boston, then drove to New York City for about 3 days because I had a friend there, and then we spent some time in Newport, Rhode Island. So we did the trifecta.
Yeah, we were supposed to go into Boston for a few days and then drive up to Maine and stay up there for a few days. So I don't want the shit, but that's okay. You know what? Flattening the curve, doing our part.
Yeah, absolutely. As for me, nothing too bad. I had an AC issue, and I was really worried that it was going to die, and I'd be in this hell on earth scape heat. But luckily, I was able to get someone to come out here who's nice, and he didn't even come inside the house. He fixed my issue in about an hour, and I am good to go.
Yeah, I was worried for you, Dave. That's got to be absolute hell. No AC. Florida.
Woo. Oh, terrible. I mean, you can't sleep at night.
Yeah.
It's impossible. All right. So that's all I've got. Do you want to dig into our story number 1, Zach?
Let's dive into the shit.
All Right. We got fear mongering in zoos. This story from the New York Post. Zoo might feed animals to each other to stay afloat during lockdown. Okay. Thanks.
Everything's going backwards. It's like, let's pull these animals out. Do they even know how to hunt? Like, what are they going to do? Like, throw the? I don't know. I don't know. I read the article. It didn't specifically say what they were feeding to what animal, but like, what are they going to do? Just like throw the warthogs into like a cage with a lion and just like just go do your thing, man.
Yeah, and doing all of that without a crowd. I mean, what's the point?
Growing up, my sister dated this, bad boy or whatever, and he had this giant pet snake. And I went over there. He's like, "You want to help feed him?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And he had to like take the mice and actually like throw them against the ground and like paralyze them before he put them in this cage with the snake, because there was like a point where the mice were actually eating the snake. And I'm like, this is going to be a situation at the zoo where this happens, where they're going to like put a warthog in with a lion or something, and the warthog's going to start attacking the lion, and they're going to be like, "Oh shit, what do we do now?" Because it's like,
what's that? Could the snake just not catch it within the cage or something?
He just wasn't hungry. He was just like laying there and not eating them, and then the mice would just like start biting at the snake.
So strange. Now, what do you think of snakes as pets?
I wanted a snake so fucking bad when I was younger. Not anymore, but when I was younger, I wanted a snake so bad, and I finally convinced my dad to take me to the pet store and let me get a snake. And as soon as he saw me, he was like, "Hell no, not happening." I think I came home with a guinea pig or something like that. I don't remember.
Oh man, stupid. Yeah. In my opinion, snakes are not pets. They really should. I just, other than the fact that they serve a function, I think they should be eradicated from the earth.
What function do they? I guess eating rodents, but
Yeah, they eat. I guess they
eat rodents too.
Yeah, I know. Well, we got rat poison for that, right?
Well, yeah.
It's the same thing with alligators. I mean, they're vile creatures that should be eliminated. But yeah, actually, I think I might have said this was an American zoo, although I have heard that from an American zoo, but this one actually comes from Germany. It says, we've listed, there's a quote here, director of the zoo, "We've listed the animals we'll have to slaughter first."
This kind of thing has happened before. I mean, I don't know if they did it out of necessity, but I can like clearly remember seeing the story of a zoo that did this before, like where a giraffe died, and instead of just, thrown away, they cut up the giraffe and put it in the lion's den.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
That's not so bad, but it's like you're walking down, like you're a guest at the zoo, and you just come from the giraffe tent, and then you see a lion eating. I'm like, oh shit.
Now, I mean, for me, the bullshit here is that this is fear mongering and a way to raise money. The zoo says they need about $200,000 or something. Feeding these animals isn't cheap, and that's where a good portion of.
Did you see Tiger King? He had to go get the leftover expired meat from the Walmart to feed the tigers. It's not cheap at all.
Yeah,
how funny they should do. They should take a lesson from Joe Exotic and go down to their local. I don't know if they have Walmarts in wherever this was. I think it was Germany or something like that. But go down to the local whatever and get some expired food and just feed them that.
Yeah, I mean, Germans eat a lot of meat. They eat a lot of pork. You just go to, just go to a slaughterhouse and you're like, just give me your scraps.
Yeah,
the thing you normally throw out.
Yeah.
So I just don't like this kind of, if we don't get money, we're going to have to kill them all, you know? All right. Let's just like pump the brakes a little bit. I'm sure someone will step up and fund the zoo to make sure it doesn't become like Lord of the Flies or something.
100% Lord of the Flies.
All right, Zach, let's move on. Now, you mentioned my haircut, and one of the ideas that I actually had jokingly was, if worst comes to worst, I'll just go out and get myself a Flowbee, which is, the stupidest product of all time. Little did I know the company is still in existence, and come to find out, they are sold out and on back order because everyone kind of had the same idea. How funny is this?
Who the hell's buying a Flowbee prior COVID-19 pandemic locket? You know what I mean? They probably had like a warehouse or like a not even a warehouse. The guy probably had his basement full of like 5 of them, and all of a sudden he got 10 orders. He's like, shit, I got to start making them.
I know, right? Yeah, back there, the back order is 10 orders. It's not like
yeah. All I can think about is Wayne's World when they put the thing on Garth's head and it's like sucking his brain up into it.
Weirdest product ever. Now, if you go on Flowbee.com, and the guy you said in the garage or the basement, whatever it was, I mean, you see the picture. He's the owner. It looks like exactly who you would think the owner of the Flowbee is. Now I got the prices up here. The big, it's $140 for one unit. That comes with it's called the Flowbee system with the super mini vac. And then there are smaller versions of that. One is $100, and the cheapest one is $55. What do you think that's worth?
I don't think I would use it to cut my own hair. I think I would definitely use it to cut my dog's hair.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
I don't know if I'd use it to cut mine though. One, I'm going bald, so it wouldn't really work on me anyway. But I don't know, $140. I got a pair of clippers. I'll do it myself.
Yeah, I've got. Because I was thinking of that too. I have just. What I had my wife use was just my beard trimmer, which had that goes to a length of about half inch or so.
Yeah.
I don't have, and I was looking at the prices for actual hair cutting clippers with all the attachments and stuff. It could run you, $70, $80. I'd much rather get those than buy the stupid Flowbee.
Yeah. Well, they could just have your vacuum in one hand and your buzzers in one other. That's the same thing. So,
oh, great stuff. It's just, to me, that was just a funny blast from the past. You never know what's going to pop up again. I hadn't thought of the Flowbee for years until my barber's gone, and what am I going to do? Kind of a thing.
You don't have to tip the Flowbee.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to give you the worst haircut ever. There's no way you would tip it, even if you could. All right, Zach, let's move on. Yesterday was 420 Day, which is an important day for many people who like to like to smoke a little weed. It is the chill day, the celebration day. And, we couldn't do it this year, just in the ways you couldn't go on your anniversary trip. We couldn't have our 420 celebration, Zach. This has got a lot of people down. And as you point out, it's very hard to puff pass from 6 feet away.
Yeah, you're going to puff past yourself. It's the highest anyone's ever gotten because they have no one to pass to but themselves. I did drive past the dispensary near my house, and the line wrapped around the block.
Oh, is it still open?
Yeah. It's just still deemed an essential business up here, I guess, because it's medical. It's for medical purposes only. So it's almost like if they cut down a farm, shut down a farm, they can't shut down a pharmacy.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing. Give me a break.
So the line wrapped around the block, and I was driving past, and it was so funny because it was like, this is the most business they're doing because they can't let that many people in at one time anyway.
Oh, yeah.
One, there's a giant influx of customers anyway because it's, the weed smoking, holiday. But, it was funny just seeing that line that damn long. Definitely no social distancing there.
No.
Weed every day.
Yes, especially on 420. So that makes sense. So the dispensaries are keeping open. So I guess it was the like in places like Colorado or in DC, wherever it's legal to sell without a prescription. All those places were shuttered then.
Yeah,
like in California, Colorado. Okay, I see. So it's at least an essential business if you have if you're a dispensary. Now, has that been a? We're going to get over this, right? I don't. Is it really that? what do? You just people just have parties? I guess, is that what it is?
I don't know, man. I've never actually full on celebrated, had a big party, but that's what it seems to me. You just go on social media and you see people posting big, giant bags of herb and talking about smoking it. So I guess that's what happens, Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just calling BS on the whole 420 thing because all you really see are people just doing it themselves, right? So maybe
I don't know how the hell it got started in the first place. Like, who decided the 20th of April was the day that we're all going to just blaze up and get it's extremely high. You know what I mean?
Why did they pick that day?
Yeah.
And that story that we were referencing came from the Huffington Post, and it was about somebody who owned a store. He sells watches that are permanently set to 420, so you're always on 420 time, I guess.
What's the point of that? Oh, I got it.
That's pretty stupid.
Yeah.
What time is it? That's 420. And you ask the guy, 2 hours later, and he gives you the same answer. It's like, all right.
It's like all of there was an episode of Parks and Rec where the guy had the watch on, and it came up and it said 420, and it started playing Cypress Hill. He's like, "Oh, I got a meeting, I got to go."
Oh, that's great. All right, Zach, let's move on to Florida news. First story here. Villages resident arrested for driving golf cart on U.S. Highway 27-441. Not that anybody cares about that, but the biggest thing here, well, the funniest thing, number one, he's in a golf cart on the road, and then they measured his breath, and he had a BAC of 0.339, which is astronomical.
I would have paid good money to see that guy driving his golf cart down the highway, and the cops just like radioing back and forth to each other, like the helicopters up there looking at him like
the guy is drunk, but there he goes.
I should fucking not zoom, but like slowly, like go down the highway.
Oh yeah, but I'm curious when we got pulled over, what his reply would be. Oh
my God.
Oh man, he said he was just on his way home after work. Say again.
You just going to the golf course, man. The golf course.
Yeah, just golfing. No, he actually said he was on his way home after working at Lowe's Home Improvement store. So that's a hell of a shift going on there. Is
that what they're doing? Yeah, is that what they're doing at Lowe's Home Improvement? Just getting tanked in the back room.
Now I did the calculations here for a 200-pound man. This is to reach that BAC level was, I believe, 15 beers in 3 hours, which is quite a bit.
That was quite a bit of beers.
It'd be
pop down a 30-pack in 6 hours.
Because what we're looking at, the legal limit is 0.8, or I'm sorry, 0.08. And we're much higher than that. I mean, the legal limit, it's not like you're not drunk at the legal limit.
No, not at all. I mean, I used to have a keychain, that was like a breathalyzer keychain, and we would all get drunk and wait to see, everyone see who hit 0.08 faster, and it would be not that long, you know what I mean? You didn't feel that drunk at 0.08.
Would you estimate it is, like 3 or 4 drinks?
Probably. I'd say that. I don't know. I use a calculator online. I don't have the breathalyzer anymore. There's a calculator you can go to online where you say you put in your height, your weight, your gender, what you were drinking, when you started drinking, and what time, how much time has passed, and it'll tell you your blood alcohol content. And there's been times that I've been out and I've been I feel I am fucked up right now, and I put in what I drunk, and it's 0.06. I'm like, that cannot be right. That cannot be right. I know I'm above a 0.08 right now. I still should not drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and actually, you can get an app on your phone as well. That's been handy for whenever I'm out far away from home or something at a place where the beers are flowing, so I can kind of keep a check on myself.
Oh yeah, be a responsible human being, Dave.
In no way did I approach 0.339. All right, Zach, let's get to possibly the most contentious topic of the day. Jacksonville area beaches open over the weekend to, wow, I mean, just a yell at each other kind of a fight. I mean, I'm sure you saw this all over social media.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag Florida morons trended #1 on Twitter over the weekend for being stupid and opening up the beaches. On the other hand, people are pointing out a lot of where these people are, say New York City, showing video of people just as congregated in the parks around New York City and all around the place, and also loosening restrictions on boating. I saw that for New York, New Jersey, possibly Connecticut. I know you're in Maryland. You said that. Are you guys still not allowed to boat up there?
So I'm not sure about the boat laws up here. The boat that I always use is my dad's, and he that's 3 hours away in Ocean City, which is all locked down anyway, so no one's down there. He hasn't even put his boat in the water yet. I know that some people have not been allowed to. I think that the thing is in Maryland, most people that do recreational boating, there's a lot of pop-up islands that go on in the Chesapeake Bay and places like that. And a lot of people congregate there. There's this one thing in the Magothy River called the Island. Okay. And that every weekend during the summer, that is just packed with boats and people. I mean, you know what I mean? No one is doing social distancing in somewhere like that. No, not at all. So I think that's the issue with boating in Maryland. I mean, there's nothing wrong, I don't think, with going out and fishing. I mean, you're staying, you cannot get within 6 feet of another boat if you're fishing, you know what I mean? Or crabbing.
Yeah, without crashing.
Whatever. Yeah. So, there's no point. It's kind of like the beach thing. I think about the beach, and when I go and sit on the beach, I don't sit 6 feet near anybody else. You know what I mean? I'm usually at least 6 feet away from other people sitting on the beach.
I think great point. And one of the things that they did, and just reading here from the article here on the Hill, Ron DeSantis to ease restrictions, and one of the things here was the easing are still it still banned people from bringing towels and chairs to prevent large congregations and limited the hours. So you can only go a certain time in the morning and certain time in the evening. You can't hang on there basically. I think it was between 6 a.m. and 11, and then 5 and 8 in the afternoon. So yeah, look, you can go in the water if you want. But you can't bring a towel. I don't know. But it's mostly just for you can plop on the sand for a bit, but it's really just it's a walk. Treat it like it's a park, And no matter how many, unless it's completely jam packed, you're out there. You got a distance. You have the blazing Florida sun and a breeze blowing things out. I don't see what the big deal is here.
No, I don't. I think that COVID-19 can get spread a lot faster among the protests than it is at an open beach. Like you said, no one's sitting 6 feet apart on a beach. If you can't, like you said, you can't bring towels or anything. People are just going to be walking. It's a public park. They haven't closed down public parks, at least around me. They haven't. You know what I mean? I don't see the big issue with opening the beaches.
No, I think this is completely overblown. And sure, we like to make fun of Florida and Florida people, but I don't think this is at some point, it becomes the kind of thing where it's like anyone who does anything or loosens any restriction, there's going to be people on the other side saying, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't, you're stupid. What do we just do this forever?
Yeah, exactly.
We never opened the beach. There was that story, I don't know if it was a week or two ago. I think we hit on where Fauci said, we'll get back to normal when there are no new infections. What kind of bullshit is that?
What the hell is that going to be?
Yeah. So we've got to get something reasonable here. So I think we're actually in agreement. So we think the bullshit is maybe those people pushing that Florida morons hashtag, people like that.
I think the beaches opening is a good first step to try to get society back to where it is. I don't think things can open up 100% right away. This is a good first step to getting people back into the public and getting some sense of a normal life back without having to really risk, a really big jump in that COVID-19 curve.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. We're worried about that second wave or even a third wave I've heard about. Jeez. And I think that's a good point. This is it's a good baby step. The one thing I did see in that I didn't like in one of the articles was right near the beach, a restaurant had opened. So naturally, everyone was congregating right around that restaurant. I think that's not smart. I think that's a little...
Yeah, that's pushing it.
Yeah. Fine, let them go to the beach, and then you get in the car and you go home or wherever off to where. But not
if I go to a bar or a restaurant and you can social... there's enough, it's sparse enough that you can social distance, and that's a pretty lame night at the bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and the second restaurants are open, everything is going to get so damn crowded. That's going to be a weird step that I'm not smart enough to understand how that works. But just opening bars and restaurants right now is not going to work. It's going to spread the virus.
Absolutely. Well, I hope nothing bad comes out of this, and this was maybe that first step forward.
Yeah.
Particularly in Florida. If there's one thing, there's nowhere to, you can go to parks and you can hike sort of, but the beach is the thing. This is where you want to go, especially as
where the hell are you gonna? Where is there really hiking in Florida? Where are you going to go? The Everglades?
Yeah, you could do that. There are parks. It's flat. There's no. It's not hiking. Yeah. It's just it's a walking trail. It's not.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. The beaches are Florida's parks essentially.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. There are some places inland where you can go, but it's really secondary to just wanting to go out to the beach. So, please, I hope you made the right decision. So, and as Zach says, this is kind of the beginning of getting back to somewhat kind of a normal. All right, Zach, let's move on to our next story. Daddy, you're going to go to jail. Story of a pair of gynecologists in Florida who walked onto a neighbor's property with kids in tow and stole a Trump flag off the property, all caught on video. How stupid is this?
Oh, I know. Now I want to know, were they stealing it because they wanted it, or were they stealing it because they were liberal and they didn't want to see the Trump flag?
Yeah, hate Trump. They couldn't bear to have a flag in their presence, so they had to go there in the middle of the night with bringing their kids with them to steal it.
you imagine those parents like talking to their kids like, look, I'm going to teach you two things. One, it's okay to break onto someone's private property and steal things in the middle of the night if it offends you. And the other, I'm going to teach you how to take care of your vagina. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm an expert.
Yeah. I'm an expert on both matters. So
it's you can see there's a video with all the audio was caught, and the kids are literally saying, "You guys are going to go to jail. You're going to get in trouble. Don't do this." And the parents are like, "Shut up! We got this under control."
That's so funny when there's a medical doctor
two medical
doctors that have children that are smarter than they are. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not a woman. I don't need to go to a gynecologist. But if I was, I would probably stay clear of them too.
I know, right? I mean, these are the people. It's so funny, right, to see other professionals, in a different context. And you're supposed to have a respect for these people. We kind of elevate their status, and they're nothing more than just political creeps and criminals.
Oh my God, it was like the first time I remember, because when you're younger and you're in school and you look at teachers as these authority figures. I remember the first time I went to a party and there was someone my age there that was a teacher. I'm like, "What do you do for a living?" Like, "I'm a teacher." I'm like, "What? Get out of here!" You know what I mean? It was like that was the weird, mind blowing part when you see people of authority and doing shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not a real human being. You're you're just this one role that I imagine you to. You're not really allowed to do anything else.
It's that's not true. I'm not only a doctor. I'm also a thief.
And I mean, just a horrible example. I just hope whatever they're in the same practice or whatever. I hope this spreads throughout the community and their business dies. That's my hope here.
Damn,
a little harsh.
Get him the hell out of here.
There you go. Perfect one. That's a great one. Yeah, get him the hell out of here. All right. I mean, let me ask you this. I mean, do you think? I mean, if it wasn't a Trump flag, or if it was just whatever, it's just some politician you didn't like, would you go onto someone's lawn or property and take it?
No.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. Hell no.
There
was one time I was growing up and someone played one of my high school friends played a prank on me, and they it was around election season, and around all the voting places, there's all the political signs for whatever stuck all around there. In the middle of the night, one of my friends went to one of those places and took all of the signs, and they put them all around the car. It was I was like, are you gonna get in trouble for doing that, man?
Oh, that's great. So I guess if it's on, it depends where it is. If it's on
public property.
Yeah, because you see those along the road, and I got no problem with that. If you see one by the side of the road and you don't like who it is, go ahead and take it. I think that's fair game. But not on someone's lawn. That's a different story.
That's pushing it.
It is. All right, let's move on to our next one. To leash or not to leash? We're still on Florida news here. Florida man shot, hospitalized over dispute over unleashed dog, police say. The man was walking his dog in his neighborhood, and he's walking his dog without a leash. And now this other guy got really mad and took out his gun and shot him, I guess. Got into this argument. Now it says here that the dog did not approach the neighbor. It didn't act aggressively toward him, but the county has a law saying all dogs must be on a leash at all times. So kind of two things here. What do you think of this reaction, number one? And what do you think of leash laws in general?
It's giving, it's seriously giving gun owners a bad rap with this when this kind of shit happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What in the hell is the point of you pulling out a gun and shooting someone because they don't have their dog on a leash? It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. There are people in this country that are gun owners that are truly responsible people, and they're just following their rights as an American citizen, and that's fine. But then you get these assholes that have a fucking armory in their basement, and they're like, I cannot wait. Cannot wait for my time to get my gun and go out. It's like people in the protests are walking around with straight these 500-pound people walking around with fucking bulletproof vests and
that's a whole arsenal
rifles, and they're this is I've been waiting for this for years. You know what I mean? It's bullshit, man. What is the point of you pulling out a gun and shooting someone because his dog is off a leach?
This is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Agree 100%, and I think your points are very, very well made. And it does give ammo. It gives ammo to the people who are essentially are asking for more gun restrictions, because their argument is look, just some guy who might just be an asshole. It can just be an asshole by himself. But if that asshole can get his hands on a gun, then look what happens here.
Yeah, exactly. It sucks. It's like everyone needs a weapon, nowadays. I wish like I used to grow up listening to my dad talk about how, like, when he was in school, he's like, man, I think I got into a fist fight every day. Like, when I was growing up, like, that shit didn't happen because it was like, oh, that kid's got a knife on him or something like that. It's like everyone needs a weapon now. And it's like why? Why do you need to pull out a weapon for a situation like this? It makes no sense. No.
And I think, I think proving the fact that the story here, because you're like, well, how do you know what the dog did? It says didn't approach Scott, didn't act aggressively towards him. I think the proof that the dog didn't attack the guy with the gun is probably proof enough that this dog was not a problem at all. And
if the dog was going to attack the guy, he would have shot the dog.
Exactly.
Right? He wouldn't have shot the owner.
Yep. All this for nothing, because clearly the dog wasn't a problem. Now, I want to know what you think about, I know you're a dog owner, I'm a dog owner. I want to know what you think about leash laws. In my area, I believe basically every city, and I know for sure the county that I'm in, has a leash law. Now, I live in a townhome complex. We have a lot of common areas, and my dog is not on a leash most of the time, unless it's at night or early in the morning where she'll chase the deer out. So, what do you think about leash laws? And
your dog must be better than mine. I always keep my dog on a leash because he'll run away and never come back. There is like rule. I don't know if it's a law, but it's more of rules. Like there's a public park that we walk my dog, and there's signs. Your dog must be leashed. Clean up your dog shit, that kind of stuff. I would love to be able to let my dog off the leash and take a frisbee, and like let him catch a frisbee and run back to me and things like that. And I probably would. I mean, if there was other people around me with their pets, I probably wouldn't let him off the leash just because you don't know what other people's pets are going to do. My dad, for instance, my dad has like this black lab, and she's like his shadow, and he doesn't keep her on the leash almost ever. Like their place, they don't have a fence around their yard, and he just opens the door, lets her go out and go to the bathroom, and then come back in, and she's fine.
Depends on the dog, right? But
it depends on the dog, and I guess that's why the laws or rules exist, because like you and your dog's fine. You're like, well, I can keep her off leash, but then there's got to be some asshole out there with like a very aggressive dog or something that's like, well, I'm not keeping mine on a leash either. You know what I mean? And then it's what stops that dog from running off and hurting somebody or whatever.
It's kind of it's a bigger issue, right? About why we have laws and why we have rules, because they're not really for most of us. So I guess I consider it a gray area because my dog's okay, and we take her to parks, and there's a couple that we go to that I don't. She's just off the leash, and because I know that she can't really get away. She doesn't care about bothering anybody. She just wants to go like chase a rabbit or something.
Yeah,
she isn't aggressive. But yeah, you're right though. Some dog, it just only takes one time, right, for some dog to come running in and either attack somebody or whatever, or just scare the bejesus out of them.
It's definitely a gray area for sure, and I guess that's why the laws and rules exist, because they want to stop, aggressive dogs from doing it. But I don't know what the answer would be. I don't know what the other alternative would be.
Well, we know it's not pulling out a gun and shooting someone.
Definitely not.
Jeez. Unbelievable. All right, Zach, let's move on here to you were mentioning protests here, so let's get to that story. This story comes from informedamerican.com. You all can check out. New Jersey woman charged with violating stay-at-home orders for organizing a protest. Now, this is funny. This is almost like Catch-22 because, or almost Orwellian, because you have a stay-at-home order, and you can't protest the stay-at-home order because protesting is itself a violation of the stay-at-home order. So you're kind of just going in circles here.
See, this is a gray area for me because it is a right to protest, and if you want to go out and protest, then you know what, that's your right as an American.
Yeah.
Do I necessarily agree with them right now? No, but no one should be arrested for doing it. Because it's your right. It's almost like at this point, the state is just using the COVID-19 laws to like arrest people for their basic American rights.
Exactly.
And that's getting to the point where it's taking it too far. My whole thing with the protests is, like I said earlier, it's like you see these people clearly packed in like sardines. You know what I mean? There's going to be some shit spread through there.
No, there's no distancing there.
No, not at all. And like, I know I've seen videos from Maryland. I know there was one I sent you where the guy down in Annapolis, in our state's capital, there was a guy that pulled his car up to a red light and jumped out of his car to protest and didn't put his car in park, and his car fucking ran over the motorcycle in front of him. And
can we play this one for the audience so they can see it?
Yeah, we'll play it right now. But yeah, and it's just shit like that where it's like, man, like, and the whole thing is people saying like disobey authority. I'm like, okay, the group of people saying this are the same people that, like, when someone gets shot by a police, that say like you should have obeyed authority. You know what I mean? It's like there's this catch. There's this like catch. Like, I don't know. It's just this weird flip flop situation where it's like, yes, there are things that are going wrong in this country now. There are rights that are being taken away, and it's but. Like, at the same time, we do need to think about how this virus is being spread. I don't know what the answer is to all that, but like, we need to use some fucking common sense. If you get out of your car to protest, put your car in park. That's number one common sense.
What's going on here? Because the guy's in the Jeep, and then some other guy like bumbles.
I don't know what happened, but yeah, it's almost like he like drunk, like ran over to his car, like, "Hey man, down." And then like the guy gets out and runs after him. And the funny thing is, like, you can see when the car hits the motorcycle in front of him, the guy just like keeps running away, like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I know. Well, it didn't look like anyone was hurt. But
no, yeah, I don't think so. It was
hilarious. It
was more funny than anything, an insurance company, deal with more of a headache for them, but no one got hurt.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But going back to the original story we talked about, I don't think she should have been arrested. Like that's just going too far. Charged, whatever it was, Well,
that's the thing, though. I mean, it literally is a violation of the stay-at-home order, and that's the question, right? I mean, I don't know. How else? Normally, protest is a way of you getting that message across. So it's like, now, as you said maybe off the top, this is now basically the way for the state to crack down on dissent. Because what else do you do? I mean, I don't know if you've heard of this, and I'm just thinking of this now, but I'm pretty surprised, and it may have happened, but I haven't heard about it, about lawsuits challenging these stay-at-home orders. Have there been any? Have you heard of anything like that? I'm surprised someone hasn't just sued.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any, but.
Because what is constitutional about a stay-at-home order if you kind of think about it? Now, we all understand common sense-wise, but where does it say that you can basically lock someone in their home? How is that allowed?
Yeah, it's not. You can't make someone a prisoner. But I guess it like, to me, I think it depends on like how far governors are taking it. Like, I think Governor Hogan in Maryland has been doing an excellent job of like making orders, but also keeping things a little bit, lenient to the point where people can still feel like they can like live their lives. You know what I mean?
Good.
Where like, but compared to like the Michigan governor,
oh Christ,
I mean, that kind of shit, like, or the whatever, she was just taking things way too far.
Yeah, roping off sections in the store.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense, man. The leaders, they got to do what's right. And they got to do what they need to do to, protect us. But granted, that's why I'm not a governor, because I'm too stupid to do that kind of those kind of decisions. But
no, I think you'd make a fine governor. Well, I tell you what, you wouldn't be as stupid as the Michigan governor. What else he's been doing? I mean, it's just all she's doing is just pissing people off at this point.
Oh yeah.
I think to your point, no, I agree with all that, and I think Florida's been really well done. To be honest, it's been pretty common sense, so I've got no complaints here. We're pretty free to do what we want to do within reason, and I think that's the way to approach it. Not roping off seeds, so you can't. I mean, food is essential, so I would think a seed would qualify, but you never know.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Now, there's this is not the only protest. I mean, we've seen these. They're basically all around the country.
Oh yeah,
and. The problem is, I mean, what are they? I can understand you protesting government overreach, and I think that's really what's going on. I think, say if people in Florida, I haven't really seen very many of them. I don't know if there's a lot in Maryland. It seems to be the states where they feel like the government is overreaching and maybe pushing a little too far, and that's generating the anger. That's my read.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, I think the protests that were in Maryland weren't as massive as some of the ones I've seen in Virginia or Michigan, but just people still, frustrated, which I understand. But you're not going to see me out there because I don't want to get COVID-19. So,
I'm not an idiot. There was one idiot in Tallahassee who was arrested for a man encases his arms in concrete in protest of prison conditions. So this is hilarious on a lot of different levels, because he's not protesting, say, the government's out of control. He's protesting so that the inmates will get released so they don't get sick.
Yeah.
I don't think we're on board with that bullshit.
I guess he didn't see the story about that guy we talked about last week that got out and then committed all those crimes and went right back to jail.
Well, I bet he saw it and doesn't care. That's what I think.
Probably. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's stupid enough to encase his arms in concrete.
That's what you would think. It would be something rather permanent, right?
Yeah,
but not. I mean, he just chickened out here. It says Tallahassee police officers attempted to talk the man's name out of the protest because he had the power to remove himself from the barrels. But ultimately, authorities brought in a jackhammer to break the concrete that surrounded his hands over a period of 2 hours. So it wasn't like, now if he went in and he put his hands in wet concrete and he said, this is my protest, I can respect that because you're committed to the cause. Yeah. But this is just grandstanding. If you can get out at any time, what the hell's that? Yeah. It's like, I refuse. So
that would have been funny if it would have if he would have did something wrong and his arms would have been in the barrels. He's like, oh shit, I can't get my arms out.
Yeah.
With the jackhammer, that's got to suck. What if that jackhammer hits your arm and chops your arm off or something?
Oh man, just don't do it. Just go away. So I thought that one was pretty funny. Now there's another one here of the topic here. This government official gets it. This comes from the New York Post. Kenyan governor blasted over plans to include Hennessy in coronavirus care packages. I think this is smart. I got no problem with this.
Yeah. Guy likes to get Henny drunk. So, he's just being a good leader, sending out booze. Everyone's gonna get look. We're all drinking alcohol here, where there's not much else to do. I can't have my 420 party, so at least I need some booze. And he's quoted here saying, it sounds like sound scientific research. He says, from the research that has been conducted by the World Health Organization, we know they're spotless clean on this thing the whole time. In various health organizations, it has been revealed that alcohol plays a very major role in killing the virus or any sort of virus, said it. The governor said in a clip tweeted by Citizen TV Kenya. I mean, we went over these very stories, Zach. We were talking about hand sanitizer. There was the doctor there about gargling some bird or some whiskey in the back of your throat to kill the virus. I think this is sound medical policy. Oh yeah, it is sound medical policy. I think the bullshit thing here is that he said you use Hennessy to kill the virus when it's only got 40% alcohol. Just say what you're saying. I'm just being a nice guy and I'm sending out some Henny so some people can drink some yak and, have a good time. Just say that.
Yeah. Look, yeah. I just want everyone. Yeah. I want to make it's like, instead of a bottle of Hennessy, it was just like a brownie or something, it's just something to make you happy. It's kind of like, it's like an extra little thingy, to make you feel better. So I got no problem with this because it's there to lift your spirits. Right.
Yeah. 100%.
So I call bullshit on everybody that condemns this.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
All right. Do you have any more on that one, or are you good?
Nope, that's it. He's a good man. Okay. He's a good leader.
All right, let's move on to tough luck, hoarder. Store boss flips off coronavirus hoarder asking for $10,000 in toilet paper refund. Screw you. We talked about this. This story comes from Australia. The guy bought $10,000. This is Australian dollars, so I don't have my currency converter in front of me. Bought $10,000 worth of toilet paper and other supplies that he stockpiled, including hand sanitizer. Shows up back at the store. Hey man, can I get my refund? I don't need all this stuff. The guy flips him off.
Just pulled a Trump.
Get him out of here.
Yeah, get him out of here.
Get him the hell out of here.
Oh man, what a dick! What a dick! First of all, doing it like that. What an asshole! Why would you do that? Just trying to profit off of this situation. You know what I mean? It's the point where capitalism goes too far. It's the backbone of our economy. But even though didn't happen in this country, but still, it's man, it just comes to the point where it's you didn't do anything wrong by like a law standpoint, but you're just a dick and you're an asshole. And I'm glad that guy gave him the finger and didn't refund any money. You know what I mean? And they're kind of, you've seen that. I remember when all this shit started to go down, like you would see like signs up in like grocery stores and like around, at least around here, that would say like, we are not accepting refunds for these type of products that have been bought during the COVID-19 pandemic. Because they don't want this kind of shit to happen to them, you know?
Absolutely. That's the right policy. This is ridiculous. This is a toilet paper. This is a toilet paper that could have gone to anybody else who may have needed it. What a jerk! You're stuck with it for life, buddy.
Yeah, have fun. You'll never have to buy toilet paper again for the rest of your life. $10,000 worth.
I can't park my car in the garage. It's full of toilet paper.
That's why we don't have any toilet paper here.
Exactly. This jackass in Australia. What a bunch of bullshit. All right, let's move on to, didn't you watch the movie? Tourist who made pilgrimage to abandoned bus made famous by Into the Wild had to be rescued after running out of food. I mean, Zach, did you see the movie Into the Wild?
I did not see it, but I'm familiar with the concept of it.
It's actually a great movie, and it's less about, unfortunately, the main, I'm sure, I'm not spoiling this for you, am I?
You know what? The movie's been out long enough, Dave.
It's been out for
It's past the spoiler alert window.
Yeah, 2007, I believe. And basically, there's much more to it. It's a character study. It's not about hiking, but eventually he tries to go find himself, and he does this by just kind of like walking the earth in a sense, and going on these trips and adventures. And one of them takes him to Alaska, and he's out there, and it's this place near Denali National Park, I believe, where there's an abandoned bus. He made it across. This is in the winter, but this was a trip he had planned on making. Problem was, it started to get to be springtime. The snow was thawing, and it was filling up the river. He couldn't cross it, and basically ended up starving, or either starving or poisoning himself, or getting poisoned accidentally from stuff he was eating. But it was a really good movie. Now, people have used this as a sort of a pilgrimage to kind of replicate this thing. It's just very, very dangerous, you know?
Yeah. What the hell?
There's been a number of people who...
Yeah, it's stupid. Why would you go someplace that a guy historically, like, and famously died and starved to death? Like, obviously, he couldn't find, enough food to stay alive. So, do you really think you're going to have a better odds?
Yeah, and this time of year is very dangerous because, as I was saying, the snow thaws and fills up this river, which is impossible to cross. And this is a Daily Mail story. Says this is a man from Brazil. He says he joins a long list of hikers to the bus who have been rescued. In February this year, 5 Italian tourists, one with frostbitten feet, were rescued hiking to the site. 2 of the treks have been fatal. Last summer, a woman from Belarus died after being swept away in the river on her return from the bus. In 2010, a woman from Switzerland also died in the river in the same incident. In March this year, frustrated Denali Bureau officials voted to ask the state to remove the bus and rejected a bid from victims' relatives to build a large bridge across the river. They won't remove the bus, but they'll consider posting warning signs. That's about it. Oh, well, just put a sign up.
Yeah, don't hike here. Well, fuck, I already hiked here. What do you mean? No, post a sign. My question is, how the hell did that bus get there in the first place? That's what I want to know.
That's a great question. It was part of a mining and construction operation.
Oh, okay.
It is abandoned in the early 1960s. And funny and the really interesting thing about this, because I'm thinking, so you got to cross the river. So maybe instead of getting up to where you can cross the river, maybe you go just on the other side of the river to get it. But come to find out, when these were unpaved roads that apparently crossed the river themselves. There was no bridges or anything like that. So they must have been making these runs in the middle of the winter when the river was frozen over, when you could pass it. So really dangerous stuff. I don't think you. How about this? Don't go outside in Alaska. Just stay away.
Yeah, if the weather doesn't kill you, the grizzly bears will. I mean, did anyone see Grizzly Man?
Yeah. Oh goodness, that was. I mean, guys with bears, right? That's
bears are my friends until they're hungry and they eat you. Don't get me wrong, I love bears. They're my favorite animal. I've never seen a bear before, but that's kind of like my bucket list to see a bear like in the wild. And like
me either.
But like, I'm not gonna go live with them.
What's more dangerous, tigers or bears? I'm thinking like Tiger King versus. Grizzly man.
I guess it depends on what kind of bear. I guess in general, I'd probably say tigers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Black bears aren't that scary. I mean, you just got to kind of like yell at them and they're just like, they like run away from you apparently. But grizzly bears, like, the fuck are you going to do against a grizzly bear?
Oh no, it's like probably like the most ferocious creature on the planet. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm your friend. Yeah. You're my friend until I decide I want to eat you.
That documentary was so like he's like sitting there recording himself on camera, and a bear walks over and he just like smacks it in the face, and I'm like, what are you doing? It's gonna eat you, and it does.
Oh goodness, Zach. Maybe our most contentious topic of the day is about the CARES Act and something a little quirk in the system where the unemployment insurance, the Congress passed passed additional funding that would boost unemployment checks by as much as $600 a week. Interesting thing there, and I didn't even know about this, is that you could potentially be making more unemployed than you do on your job. And it sparks an interesting debate. I mean, does that mess up the incentives? Is the bill maybe doing the wrong thing? Maybe encouraging people to, I don't know, claim unemployment versus working?
Yeah.
Or is this just maybe we should just be happy that we're giving these people a little extra during this difficult time?
You know, it's give an inch, you take a mile. It's kind of like that episode of I don't know if you're an It's Always Sunny fan, but there was this episode where Dennis and Dee, they like left the bar and went on unemployment. And they're like, holy shit, we're making more money on unemployment than we were making from the bar. So they just like, don't come back to the bar and just sit there and collect unemployment. And they're like living life. It's so funny. But like, that's what I think about.
But I don't think, I mean, this is comedic, right? I mean, how many people are really going to choose that? Because this extra funding is only for 4 months. I mean, how are we overblowing this?
I think in general, people want to work, but a lot of people just can't, you know? You know, I know like a lot of hospitals and nurses, they're like kind of doing furloughs for some employees for certain, areas, and they're giving them the option. Like, you can work in the COVID, section if you want to. And people are like, no, I'm not going to work in the COVID section, like things like that.
Yeah. The irony about hospitals is you'd think they'd be overflowing, but in fact, they're not.
Yeah. Right. I mean, and I think, most low-paying jobs are kind of essential, right? Fast food, restaurants, most of those, like bus boys and things like that. Like, there's also, well, not bus boys, I guess, but like, fry cooks,
I understand your point.
Cooks,
I mean, I don't want to.
Like,
I don't want to single out professions
are still out there. I guess it's more of like, janitors or things like that. That's the only thing I could think of that might not necessarily be working right now. That might not be considered essential unless you're a janitor at a hospital. Yeah, no,
I understand that completely. It's a point well taken. This story comes from CNBC. This is, of course, as we said, unemployment workers get more than 100% of their paycheck under the coronavirus bill. And this lists a couple of example here of a break-even wage. So in Pennsylvania, that number would be about $60,000 a year in annual salary. So in other words, if you make up to $60,000 in Pennsylvania, you could potentially make more if you were unemployed. And that number in Florida is about $45,000 a year. So basically, anybody under those thresholds, it does vary state to state, will see more in their checks if they happen to be laid off or something. I'm going to say, you know what? Let them have the extra money now for 4 months. That's where I'm landing. I think it's BS to question this. That's my final thought on that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. I'm not going to be running out arguing about it. I don't see really the big deal. It's not that much, more than people are making. I'm more pissed off that I haven't got my stimulus check yet.
Oh no!
No, every time I go into IRS and they get my payment status not available. Come on, man! Like,
are you
updated?
Are you waiting on that paper check or your transfer?
I think so, because I always owe a lot of money every year in taxes. So, I just do the option for mail in a paper check, and then I wait till the last day and I mail it in.
I see.
So they don't have, and I also just submitted my taxes like April 3rd or something like that. So they probably just don't have my shit yet, but still, it's like every day I log in, I'm like, God damn it. Like, where is it? All my friends are on Facebook, like talking about getting their money. I'm like, shit.
Yeah. That, paper checks, they said, could be as long as 20 weeks. So you could be sitting here in late August, buddy.
Yeah.
And you're going to get it it's going to have Donald Trump's signature on there, so you could maybe just frame it,
not check it. Yeah, exactly. Like save it and not. That's the whole reason I'm doing paper check, honestly, because I want to get Donald Trump's signature on
That's it. I opted for the check.
Yeah, I opted for the check on purpose. So like, you got to wait 20 weeks. I'm like, waiting 20 weeks for his signature is worth it.
Roll out.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that is the best one. I love that one. Okay, so we got just a couple more here, Zach, and we're getting to your favorite one. We're not quite there yet, but this second to last one here, Dr. Fauci.
This is my second favorite. Huh? This is my second favorite.
Second favorite. Dr. Fauci, the now famous Dr. Fauci, endorses Tinder hookups if you're willing to take a risk. He says, it's tough. Somebody asked him about, I like this question here. If you're swiping on a dating app like Tinder or Bumble or Grindr, you might match with someone that you think is hot. And you're just kind of like, well, maybe it's fine if this one stranger comes over. What do you say to that person? And he says, it's tough. If you're willing to take a risk, and, everybody has their own tolerance for risks. But you can figure out if you want to meet somebody. It's up to you. If you want to get a little bit more intimate, well, that's your choice regarding your risk. I wouldn't have expected this from our top advisor on health policy, would you?
Oh, I would, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him for staying woke.
You're goddamn right.
Because I was looking up his quotes, and he mentioned Grindr in his dating apps. So good for him for encouraging the gay trans community.
Equal opportunity COVID contractors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You want to go out there and get it on? Go for it, girl.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't use these apps, so I've never used them, so I don't really know how they exactly work. I mean, I know about swiping left and right, but I'd be curious if you had heard if you've got any single friends, if they had said if maybe those apps had actually limited activity on them, or if they
I'm not sure actually. I've never used one myself either. Haven't needed to. But I've got a couple friends that are on like Plenty of Fish and Tinder and stuff. I could reach out and ask them. I'm not sure though what kind of like things they're put in place. I remember a while ago there was a thing about Tinder that was suggesting like social distancing when you're meeting people. I'm like, how does that work? The whole point of Tinder is to meet up to like to get it in.
Oh yeah.
But so how are you going to do that social distancing? So I'm not sure what they're doing. I think with all the protests and everything now, they're like, you know what? If you can go out and get next to each other to protest, you can go out and get next to each other to, have fun.
Well, isn't there like one, I don't know if sect is the right word, or one part of the Jewish religion where you got to wear the sheet and then you make the hole? So maybe you gotta, it's almost like that hair cutter with the umbrella. Maybe everyone will. This will be our new method of lovemaking in COVID-19.
Goddamn right.
Well, there's what is the thing that the Mormon community does? Something that's soaking, where they just put it in, don't move, they don't kiss each other, they just like sit there and like okay, having fun. That maybe you could do that because that won't spread it.
Oh, I've never heard of that. That's
soaking. Look it up. Go have a soak.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right, let's move on to our final story, the one you've been waiting so long for. Have we found Bigfoot? Now, the cover story here is stranded kayaker looks like Bigfoot. Is he practicing social distancing too? This is a man who, as a kayaker, takes social distancing to the next level. This comes from the New York PD Special Ops on Twitter. NYPD Aviation found the uninjured male stranded on a remote island in Jamaica Bay, Queens. Missing for over 12 hours, and the male signaled help by starting a fire and spelling out help by using nearby sticks before being found. Now, if you watch this video, it really does look like Bigfoot.
It does. And I mean, it's mostly probably just because of the low quality. And I think it happened near Jamaica or something like that. I think I read in the article. So I don't
Jamaica Bay, Queens. So this is basically New York City.
Oh, Jamaica Bay, Queens. God, I'm an idiot. God.
Well, what the BS here? Why are there two Jamaicas? Why are we getting confused by this?
Yeah, right. But okay, so maybe Bigfoot just went down to New York City a little bit, and wanted to get some sushi, or some go down to Chinatown and get some egg rolls. I don't know, but I hope he's practicing social distancing, or she. Could be a she. I don't think we've determined the sex of Bigfoot yet.
I don't think we have either. We assume it's a guy, though, right? But it can't just be one guy, so they got to have a family.
Yeah, there's a Bigfoot. Hopefully, the family is safe and practicing social distancing. How are we going to get the COVID-19 test to Bigfoot? Maybe that's why he's in the city. Maybe he's trying to get a COVID-19 test.
He wants that antibody test.
He's like, man, I've had a fever for like a week.
This is funny. I wonder what Bigfoot truthers think of this because, I mean, do you think they maybe? If you watch the rest of the video, it's pretty clear it's a human being. This guy wearing shorts and a hoodie.
Yeah.
But, why would Bigfoot wave to a helicopter?
Help me! I'm finally revealing myself because I'm sick.
What do you think of Bigfoot? Think it's real?
I wish I had my dad on this call because my dad's obsessed with Bigfoot. Yeah, I think he's real. For one year for my dad's birthday, I bought him like a Bigfoot like casing. Like somebody like found like Bigfoot's footprint and they like
really
and like cemented in. So like yeah, he's got like an authentic like Bigfoot like casing of like whatever cement. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. There's just so much wilderness out there that's unexplored, or there's just so much wide forest and shit. Like he could be there somewhere and no one's seen him. Maybe I don't know.
Do you think that was a real footprint, or do you think someone made it with like
someone definitely just made it themselves, modeling clay, 100%? But he's got a little certificate that says it's authentic, so who knows?
So I think I'm pretty close to there with you. I'm basically I'm a believer. I'm not going to say it's real, but I want Bigfoot to be real. I think it's possible, and I just think it'd be a really cool creature to actually find. I think if you were like, if you had a gun to my head and I had to say, is it real or fake? I'd say it's fake, but
yeah,
I want it to be real.
Yeah, I think he would have came out by now at some point, but
Well, I mean, those woods in the Pacific Northwest and in Florida, they call it like a swamp ape or a stink ape. Apparently, it doesn't take showers or anything, so it smells really bad. I don't know.
The stink ape.
All right, Zach, great show, buddy. Good to talk to you about all this BS, the ridiculous, the absurd, and God, just all this bullshit. But we are here to help you get through this stuff. I'd love to know what you think about the topics we talked about today. Go ahead and comment below and share anything that you come across also in the comment section. We will keep our eye out for it and maybe bring it up on the show. Subscribe to this channel here on YouTube, and if you enjoyed it, we'd love it if you hit the like button. Zach tells me we're all go on major podcast platforms. So if you don't want to watch us here on YouTube, you can subscribe that way and listen to us on the phone. For Zach, I am Dave, and I've had enough of this BS.
You've been listening to the BS Podcast with Dave and Zach, part of the Informed American Radio Network. Please like and subscribe today in order to get fresh new weekly episodes. Please send us your BS stories to info@informedamerican.com. The world is hard enough, and now we gotta deal with this bullshit.